Why Smart no day now this morning? Ah, Smart for no worry, Smart you go there for evening. Smart. I say Smart go there for evening. He for day this morning. They make noise. Spain, Merino.
And now, time to talk sports matters on CEMTV. Stay with us.
Sensational! Absolutely sensational! Sensational! And Stadium is rocked! The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good! A huge shot! The puck drops in this gold medal game.
Sprint star Favour Waz says he's mentally and physically prepared for the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, as Team Nigeria intensifies plans for the multi-sports event. And world record holder Tobi Amoso has secured her place in the 2026 Wonder Diamond League. The final of that very one after a string of consistent performances in the women's 100 meters hurdles event this very season. And in football, the Nigeria Football Federation has warned Nigerian Premier Football League clubs to comply fully with club licensing regulations ahead of the 2026-2027 campaign, declaring that there'll be strict enforcement of the rules with the backing of the National Sports Commission. And just so you know, European champion Spain are into the World Cup final after beating lackluster France by 2-0 in Dallas. With that, I say welcome to Sports 360 right here on SEM Television. I'm that name, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. But then it's a great day because Michel Dagogo is right here. He joins us today on Sports 360. Michel, it's a great time to have you right here on Sports 360. After what we saw yesterday, you ensure that you came around. I mean, and then we'll be here to talk about all of this story. So thank you very much for coming around.
Yeah, good morning to you, Patrick the Locker, to all of our listeners and our viewers. It's good to be here, and I promise to be contributing to the absolute best of my knowledge.
Okay, well, interesting time. So we'll get to look at all of these stories making the rounds already. So we start off with athletics, where Nigeria's sprint star Favour Waz says he's mentally and physically prepared for the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, as Team Nigeria intensifies preparations for the multi-sports event. The 100 meters and 4x100 meters relay specialist, popularly known as the Nigerian Nightmare, said the national team's training camp has played a key role in sharpening the athletes, the readiness ahead of the games. The sprinter also urged Nigerians to rally behind the team throughout the competition. Ash's confidence comes as the federal government unveiled a financial reward package for medal winners at the games. Of course, National Sports Commission Director General Bokola Olokpade announced that gold medalists will receive $3,000, silver medalists $2,000, and bronze medalists $1,500, while coaches of medal-winning athletes will earn performance bonuses of $5,000. He also confirmed that the payment of camp allowances has commenced to ensure athletes are fully motivated ahead of the competition. Nigeria is expected to field a strong contingent in Glasgow, Scotland, including world record holder Tobi Amoso, sprint sensation Kainshola Ajayi, shot put star Chukwuebuka Enekwechi, para-powerlifting champion Folashade Oluwafemi, and several other elite athletes competing across athletics, boxing, cycling, swimming, weightlifting, and parasports. Michelle, it's a great one to have this coming around. Cash reward for athletes who get to do well at the games in Glasgow. It's quite exciting. $3,000 for gold medalists. I think that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a step in the right direction. Financial incentives, motivate athletes to come to the party, with their best, and which is really good. And talking about Favor Ash, normally it's all good seeing an athlete of his caliber, brimming with optimism, in the build-up to a major competition.
Yeah.
The athletes are currently in Scotland. They are being camped in one of the best Linksfield sporting facility, and it's something that we must really commend the National Sports Commission about for securing such a wonderful
training
sporting paraphernalia for where they will fine-tune preparations. And Favor Ash happens to be one of our best athletic prospects. Don't forget what he was able to achieve when he competed at the 2022 World Athletics Championship, where, in the 4x100 meters, he won bronze. And also at the Paris 2024 Olympics, he also reached the semi-finals. Whenever he competes, he is always a potential, in terms of winning medals or laurels.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this same athlete was on the verge of switching allegiance to Qatar. Of course, he decried the lack of support, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of, the Nigerian sports fraternity not prioritizing the welfare of athletes.
Yeah.
Don't also forget, Favor Ofili, the namesake of Favor Ash,
something similar
happened about switching allegiance. So, if not for the intervention of the chairman of the Athletics Federation, Tony Bokokowa, that intervened, promising him, telling him that they would learn from what has happened. Favor Ash has been a wonderful athlete. He's the first Nigerian to break the 10-second barrier when it comes to competing in the 100 meters. He has the legal record of 9.94 seconds, which is really good. And with the kind of mindset he has going into this tournament, I see nothing stopping us from winning a medal. And of course, he has said it. He's motivated, he's brimming, and he's ready. So I wish him all the best.
Interesting times. We're looking forward to what they got in store. The 2026 Commonwealth Games will be held in Glasgow from July 23rd to August 2nd, with about 3,000 athletes from 74 nations competing in 10 sports. In another development, world record holder Toby Amoso has secured a place in the 2026 Wonder Diamond League final after a string of consistent performances in the women's 100 meters hurdles. Of course, this very season, of course, she goes into that one looking to make history. The former world champion has amassed 28 points from 5 Diamond League meetings in the women's 100 meters hurdles, comfortably sealing qualification for the season-ending championship scheduled for September the 4th and 5th in Brussels, Belgium. Amoso currently sits second in the Diamond League standings behind American Masai Russell, who leads with 32 points. They both head into the final with races remaining in London, Lausanne, Silesia and Zurich before the final. Of course, Russell holds the fastest time in the world this year at 12.14 seconds, while Amoso's season best is 12.28 seconds, a mark she's recorded 3 times this very campaign. The pair are expected to renew the rivalry in Brussels, where Amoso will be aiming to claim a 4th Diamond League title after winning 3 consecutive crowns between 2021 and 2023. Amoso also remains the world record holder in the event, having set the mark of 12.12 seconds during her historic run to the world title some 4 years ago in Eugene. Interesting time. So Toby Amoso, Michelle, now she secured her place in the 2026 Wonder Diamond League final after a string of consistent performances in the women's 100 meters hurdles events this season. It's a good fit, I tell you, for the most part.
Yeah, good fit. Honorarily, if you want to analyze, you feel that maybe she is trailing, Masai Russell, but Toby Amoso has shown a remarkable level of consistency. It's just by 4 points. And we all know that when it comes to the Diamond League, it's a combination of the races you run.
Yeah.
Though she is in contention, they'll be going to the finals.
Yeah.
Where based on the points you've amassed, once you take first 8 points, second 7 points. So Toby Amoso seems to be trailing her by just 4 points, and in the finals she can usurp her if possible. But I like the fact that Tobi Amosun, of course, when it comes to the Diamond League, you cannot talk about the Diamond League without mentioning Tobi Amosun. She happens to be, Nigeria's most reliable athlete in the last 4 to 5 years. And I like the fact that she's doing so well for herself, and she has really been one athlete that has defied the odds despite the challenges she has faced. At some point, she was at loggerheads with where she missed about 3 whereabouts tests, where she faced a brief ban, but she came back well really prepared. And ever since then, whenever she competes, she does it with a level head, and she's always one person I look up to. So good one for her, and for her consistency, making sure she has been able to reach the 12.3s. Even in Rabat, Marrakesh, same thing. In Eugene, Oregon, over the years, she has been able to make sure she clock a specific time, a consistent time. So that has been what has put her in contention for the Diamond League. So going to the finals, I see her beating Maxa Russell without missing words. Tobi Amosun will be taking it. I'm not saying it because I'm Nigerian. I'm saying it because of how far she has been able to perform. Consistency level, remarkable intelligence when it comes to the track and field. And the hurdles. She's one athlete that is really versatile. And going into that final race, I wish her all the best once again.
All right, well, we wait to see what comes out of that very one. From athletics now, let's turn our focus full throttle to the round leader, talking about football. And of course, we start off from the home front, where the Nigerian Football Federation has warned Nigerian Premier Football clubs to comply fully with club licensing regulations ahead of the 2026-2027 season, declaring that there will be strict enforcement of the rules with the backing of the National Sports Commission. The warning was contained in a communique issued after the NFF Executive Committee meeting held in Asaba, Delta State last weekend, where the Federation welcomed the National Sports Commission's commitment to support the implementation of the licensing framework. The Executive Committee held the pronouncement of the National Sports Commission that it is ready to provide full support to the NFF for a strict enforcement of club licensing regulations and to shun any attempt by any club to circumvent any of the provisions in the regulations. Parts of the communique read. Now, the renewed push for the stricter enforcement comes amid sweeping reforms being introduced to the domestic league by the National Sports Commission. Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, recently announced a prize pool of 2.5 billion for the 2026-2027 NPFL season and proposed, raising the minimum salary for players from 150,000 naira to 2 million naira as part of efforts to improve the professionalism of the league. While reiterating the stance of the National Sports Commission, Director General Bokola Olokpade noted that the body aims to reform the Nigerian football through the top flight. Speaking on the proposed 2 million naira minimum wage, the NSC Director General said the reforms were aimed at making the domestic league more competitive and attractive to players. In his words, he said, and I quote, "We cannot continue to see our players leave Nigeria for leagues in countries like Benin Republic and Vietnam to earn as little as $800. We must build a professional league that provides the right environment for players to develop and thrive." The NPFL board has tentatively fixed August 27th to 29th for the commencement of the 2026-2027 season. According to the approved football calendar, the campaign will run until May 28, 2027, with fixtures for the President Federation Cup also included as organizers seek to maintain a more structured domestic league schedule. This is, coming at a very good time where, the issue of welfare has been, we've consistently talked about that they need to improve and all. So when you have these reforms coming into place, just like we talked about athletics, athletes being rewarded, for winning medals, gold, silver, and bronze. And there should be a minimum wage for 150,000 naira, as minimum wage in the NPFL to 2 million naira as minimum wage. This is the way to go.
Well,
you agree?
On paper, you can say it's the way to go. Is it realistic? Can we achieve it? You need to understand that when it comes to football governance in Nigeria, most clubs are owned by the government, and the government runs football like charity. In most cases, there's no return on investment. The government bankrolls football. Now, the NSC with the MPFL, they do have great plans on how to make the MPFL marketable, make it visible, no doubt about that. But you have to be realistic in terms of making sure you achieve these goals. How can you do it? 2-point-something billion for the winners of the league. Where would the money be coming from? Even the GTI that sponsors the league, how much do they bring to the table? Ahead, unconfirmed though, that the winners of the last President Federation Cup are yet to receive their monies. Now, the thing is this: good plans, and as a student of management, there is this saying that once you fail to plan, you plan to fail. When you talk about club licensing, it's very easy to think it's just paperwork, but it goes more than that. It's the life wire through which the clubs are supposed to operate. It involves the control system generally on how the league should be governed. For you to run a club in the NPFL, there are some criteria you should be able to follow or put in place. First, you must have a stadium where matches can be played. You must have a governance. What is the clear-cut structure of your club governance? How can players be paid? How can you run this club? Because of course you will agree with me that playing the NPFL involves you traveling to different states.
Absolutely.
The logistical aspect of it, the costs, and what have you. Does the club have all it takes, to run it? Yeah, we have a lot of new clubs coming. Very few are privately owned. The rest are owned by the government.
Absolutely.
So what we should be looking at is not just to say things that are really good for our ears. We should come up with plans on how truly we can develop our league. Plans that are achievable. That is what I'm looking at, because the NPFL, I could remember a couple of seasons ago, said for you to own a professional club that will be playing in Nigeria domestically, the NPFL, you must have a youth team. How many of them does have that youth team?
And that's really valid, because you look at, let's take Rivers United for instance. Can we really beat our chest to say, okay, this is the youth team? So what they do is basically they wait when there's any major event or something. They just go about, get players from some privately run academies and put them together for all of these events. And then it's happening to have that, to see that happen at this material time. There's a lot. Football is 100% business. Sports is business.
Absolutely.
100%. And I tell people, for what it's worth, football is crude. Like the new crude oil.
Absolutely.
But it's really disheartening that in this part of the climb, we don't seem to see that way. We are a lot of persons are still very much aback. Not because they don't know, but because it's strictly political. The government can actually run a football club if they want to.
If they want to.
Quote unquote. If they want to. It's about being intentional.
I agree with you.
Because take for instance, a team like Barcelona is owned by a council. Not an individual. That's why you have elections every year. The city owns the club. Like Real Madrid. That's
the board of directors are Real Madrid.
Exactly. So it has to do with deliberate actions, being very deliberate. We've seen some newly owned private teams coming up. I mean, we'll be having quite a lot in the NPFL next this new season that's coming up, 2026, 2027. Those teams are professionally run. You get professionally run. But imagine those teams, their operation first. Branding is key. Branding is key. How well information about the league it feels like some secret code.
It's
Like,
even
do you know-
difficult. It's even difficult, you know,
to get information.
to get
like,
information regarding our league.
you know, they are not out there, so it's really tough.
You know. In conclusion, you know, Patrick, the thing is this: the chairman of the Zamfara State Football Association, you know, has come out to say that it's not going to be possible. What the NPFL in synergy with the National Sports Commission are coming up with, it will not be possible. You're giving a benchmark that clubs should pay 150,000 naira as the minimum wage. Some players in the NPFL earn less than 100,000. Some players, not all players. Now, that is why you see a very high exodus of our best legs. You barely see the current highest goal scorer in the just concluded leg, Joseph Atule. Before you know it, he will leave. They even go to obscure leagues as Sudan. Sudan is fighting war, but our players, just because of the gap in terms of finance, go to these leagues because they know that at least when you remove tax, I can have $500. Yeah, how much am I being paid? So the NPFL needs to make sure they're deliberate about it. It's a different kettle of fish to bring out a paper and say these are my plans, and ways to achieve these plans should also be spelled out. Realistic ways, not just saying it because you want us, to praise your
lip service.
So I think football is not being run professionally. Players don't really have a valid contract.
Yeah, they tell you, and at the end of every season, sometimes you hear things like, okay, if we send you WhatsApp message, if you come, if you don't see your name for,
that is where players have scored.
I mean,
some players will leave the club will say, we don't know where this player deal.
As someone, because I'm also very much into football scouting as well.
Yeah.
So we face quite a lot of challenges.
Absolutely.
When it comes to players, well, see, currently I've got some players that are meant to leave the shores of Nigeria, right? But see, we thought myself and my colleagues here, working on this some deals to move some players out. We got to find that there's a certain player. She got released by a team in the Nigeria Women Football League.
Okay.
Like unofficially released. Why? She was dropped because she picked up a knock, an injury that kept her out for some time.
Yeah.
Up about 2 months or thereabout. Wasn't fit to play, and the desperation of getting to do well, make it to the Super Six and all of those playoffs, and so they were so desperate. They needed their best legs and all, but because she wasn't fit, she was released unofficially, without any letter. Told her, okay,
you can go.
Okay, if you're releasing a player, you should hand them a release letter, because she's contracted to you, and you can't make signings. You can't sign a player without a release letter.
Absolutely.
We demanded for it. Initially, she said, "Oh well, she's a free agent," and after we made at the latter stages, the final stage, we got to find out. Oh, come on, she's still tied to this club. And you know what they do? The clubs are, I don't know, they are so self-centered. They wait until you get a deal. Once a deal comes,
you get a deal,
and then they come out saying
they claim
this is a player.
Yeah.
And by then they would demand a fee that would almost drive you crazy.
You just said something that resonates with me, because my younger sister plays currently for Edo Queens.
Yeah.
At some point in time, year before last, in the scouting program, then she was playing for Atlant Queens, and she got Bayelsa Queens, the prosperity girls. She got a deal. A church, I don't want to call their name, came up with scouts, and she signed a professional contract with a team in Lithuania. Do you know that even at Bayelsa, she was a fringe player because they don't use her?
Yeah.
And when they saw on Facebook that my younger sister has signed this contract, they saw pictures with some white men. Immediately, they sent her a message that anything you're doing, you're seeing our player. This is a player that
it's crazy.
They don't really care about.
Crazy. It is a trade.
We had to pay
close
to 500,000 naira just to get
clearance.
And it was later, because my parents showed desperation. They say, more pay, more. I said, let's calm down. My parents went
for World Cup in Qatar. 2026, they got to the quarters, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting times. And if you look at their brand of football,
You
apart from
understand that they are
all of
doing
these
so well.
heights, the brand of football is attractive. I mean, they are almost like a top European side in terms of performances.
In terms of play,
In terms of play,
technicality, tactical play, player management, game management.
look at their clubs. See, that's why you have them competing and dominating when it comes to continentals. That's CAF Champions League or CAF Confederation Cup.
Absolutely.
You have them dominating and doing all because there's a proper plan in place. So it's really sad that Nigeria in 2026, today is July 15th, 2026, where we are still so back. And see, the people, it's a story of square pegs in round holes.
Absolutely.
So those holding these positions are majorly politicians.
A lot of them are there for their personal aggrandizement. That is it.
Purely politicians. So they do these things because, let me settle my boat. Okay, it's your turn. And it's just the same set of persons who have just been around for a long time.
No new innovation.
It's really disheartening.
When somebody has stayed in a position for a long time, no disrespect to those people that have stayed in positions for long time.
Yeah.
You understand? You'll be bereft of ideas, especially when there is kind of monopoly.
Monopoly, yeah.
It's not supposed to be so. Football, in Nigeria, the talent pool is not questionable. Nigerians does have the silence. Our pain has always been our inability to come up, with astute administrative policies to develop football.
Yeah.
Because it's not rocket science.
It's crazy.
These are things we all know. These football administrators, they travel abroad. They know international best practices, but they are not, adopting them.
No.
So that is why our football, has gone down the drain. Look at our under-17 team.
Goodness me.
We are the record winners of the FIFA under-17 World Cup. 5-time winners. Have we won the under-20? We've not. Look at the Morocco team that just came. They have won the under-20 World Cup. The male.
If you check them from the under-17s to under-20s to under-23s to the senior national team, male, females, male and female. I mean, they are doing pretty well for themselves. And I think Nigeria needs to borrow a lift.
Are we going to borrow a lift?
What's happening is just it's a stock in trade, like a bad norm, right? A very bad norm. That's what we see in this part of the climb. And these persons are just really comfortable doing all of these things. The new minimum wage, 2 million naira per player. It's one thing to say your prayers. It's just another to do your homework.
That's it.
Like you mentioned, there has to be a proper structure in place if these must work. So are you now saying to the privately run teams that they must pay their players 2 million? They don't have issues paying their players 2 million naira.
Absolutely.
Because they're core business people. All right, they are very much into the business. All right, take for instance Kunle Shoname
of Remo Stars.
The owner of Remo Stars. All right. So you look at Beyond Limits. His academy, Remo Stars Academy, for some tournaments, some events, so engage and expose its players.
Vicareggio Cup.
Yeah, the Gotha Cup in Italy. So a lot of series of tournaments. So they get involved and they have that exposure, and that's why you have players. You hardly see a player leaving their Beyond Limits FA, their academy, football academy, to maybe an MPFL side. Most times they leave. I mean, they move outside. They leave Nigeria.
One thing, Kule Shoname happens to be one man that knows his business of football. He's well grounded. The Beyond Limits are for a kind of exporting of football talents. Why the Remo Stars? Primarily for competing in the MPFL.
Yeah.
That is what he does. A lot of players from Beyond Limits have been able to make it, to clubs in Sweden,
a lot in Norway, across Europe.
So it's all about being intentional. Governments, no disrespect to them, they have no footballers. If you're not passionate about it, it's not something that will resonate with you.
Yeah.
You will just be doing it as if, not those one like any ITs. It's not supposed to be so. So, Patrick, more needs to be done in terms of developing football. If we want to have our football blossom or flourish to the highest level, then there has to be, intentionality. You cannot take that away from
All right.
football.
Well, interesting time to wait to see what happens in the coming days. Well, the NSC and the NPFL are meeting together to say there should be some minimum wage, 2 million naira. And then the winners of the NPFL are over 2 billion naira. That's remarkable. I'll tell you for the most part, it's remarkable. Naira, a lot has actually changed. So a lot, we're tired of, see, all of these stories. You say these and then we wait to see. Winners of the President Federation Cup we hear still being owed. Isn't that interesting? But anyways, wait to see what happens at the end of it all. All right. From there now, let's look at one story making the rounds regarding transfer, as a football transfer, and it's got to do with the Nigerian player, because the Cottagers Fulham have reached an agreement on personal terms with Super Eagles defender GBK Ngwiu, but must still convince Trabzonspor to sanction the move after the Turkish club rejected 2 bids for the Nigeria international. Of course, he's a really fine player. The Premier League side are reportedly prepared to sign the 22-year-old on a contract until 2030. But negotiations have stalled over Trabzonspor's valuation. Fulham are interested in the services, and Fulham's opening £20 million or 20 million euros bid was rejected before an improved offer worth 28 million euros, including 25 million euros guaranteed and 3 million euros in add-ons, also failed to meet the Turkish club's demands. Trabzonspor are understood to be holding out for between 30 million euros and 35 million euros for the centre-back, who has also attracted interest from Napoli. That's the Partenope. The Hammers West Ham United are also interested. Ngwiu, who was initially open to remaining in Turkey, has reportedly informed the club through his representatives that his preference, is to continue his career in the Premier League. He wants to move away from the side. He joined Trabzonspor from Austrian side Wolfsberger AC in January 2026 and enjoyed a remarkable rise, establishing himself as a first-team regular with 21 appearances in all competitions. Of course, the 1.93-meter defender scored 3 goals, including the winner against league champions Galatasaray, and played a key role in the club's Turkish Cup triumph. Performances that also earned him 3 senior caps for Nigeria. Trabzonspor's firm stance is followed by the prospect of a record-breaking sale, having signed the defender for around 6 million euros just a month ago. The Turkish side also, the Turkish side stands makes it quite a huge one, and Fulham are looking to return with an improved bid for the player. They are expected to return with an improved. So from there now, let's move on to the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico, and of course Canada, where European champions Spain are into the World Cup final after beating lackluster France by 2-0 in Dallas. The semi-final showdown between the tournament's 2 favorites and standout sides had been eagerly anticipated, but France didn't show up. As bad as France were, Spain demonstrated their all-round strength to book their spot in Sunday's final, where they'll face either the Three Lions of England or the RB Celeste of Argentina. Michel, it was quite a good ride. Kylian Mbappe is better than Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho. But then the Spanish side came into that game well, fully prepared, and dominated play, outshone the French side to ensure that they book a place in the final of the tournament. What's your assessment of that very encounter? What's it like? What was it like for you?
I saw it coming. I critically have watched this French team and I've watched the Spanish team. And if you could, in the last 10 meetings, they have really done it good. They have won 7. And yesterday, if you take a look at the French team, you understand that once Kylian Mbappe, Michael Olise, and Dembele fails to thrive, then the team, would be toothless. And that was what the La Rua of Spain was able to do. That was what they were able to do. One man that stood out for me was Rodri. He made 655 passes, and since 1966, when player statistics started, coming out from World Cup tournaments. No player has made such number of passes. He was really astute. And, of course, it was a game of high stakes. If you take a look at how the La Roja have played, they have conceded just 1 goal in this tournament so far. Their run so far in this tournament is reminiscent of what we saw, in 2024 when they won the Euros, where they conceded just a goal too. So defensively, they have been so solid. In the midfield, they have been so mercurial and dazzling. And in the final third, of course, even when Yamin Lamar seemed not to be in the best of form, of course, by his standards, we think he has played below par at the World Cup. He's not compared to what we saw at the Euros.
Yeah, Lamine Yamal.
And when he has failed to show up, the likes of Mikel Merino and Mikel
Oyarzabal. Oh, brilliant.
Really been spectacular.
It's been Oyarzabal. Like, he happens to be the team's top scorer at the ongoing FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think he's seemingly underrated. Don't you think so?
Yeah, he's underrated because he plays for Real Sociedad. And normally, if you take a large chunk of the players from the Spanish team that represents them, you hardly see players from, Real Sociedad. Most players come from FC Barcelona. Some of them come from Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid these days.
Yeah.
But comprehensively, it was a good performance from the Spanish. Nobody saw it coming because, for the Spanish team, for the French team, I beg your pardon, in the group stages, they scored 10 goals, conceded just 2. And in the group stages for the French team, they were arguably the best team because of the number of goals they scored. The Spanish team too did so well in the group stages, but they were not as spectacular as the French team because they drew with Cape Verde. Don't forget.
Yeah, Cape Verde.
In the knockout stages, the French debut team haven't conceded till they met the La Roja.
Yeah.
So you can see that these are 2 good teams tactically and technically. In fact, to me, it's the finals before the finals.
Yeah.
Because we saw football at its best, but it's just so unfortunate that the expectations of a lot of people were dashed because they were calling the French team African United because
for the
they
most
do
part
have a lot of black players playing for them. And I said now Africa United has come up against European United. How far? Good one for the Spanish team, and they are 38 matches unbeaten. It's a record. The last team to have that record was the Italian team.
Yeah, Italy, Azzurri.
That was in 2021. The last time the Spanish team faced defeat was against Colombia in 2024. So 2 years running, they have not lost. It's no small feat. It's not a fluke. They are really ready, and their coach, De La Fuente, happens to be one man who has been there, from time immemorial. Even when their former coach was there, he was an understudy, an assistant to him.
Absolutely.
And the likes of Yamin Lamar and the rest of them, Pedri, were his boys when he was in charge of the junior team. So he knows the dynamics of the team. He knows how the team works. And of course, what a philosophy. The Spanish team believes in the philosophy of ball retention. They believe that once you hold the ball, your opponents will be frustrated. Deprive the opponents of the ball, they will become frustrated, they will cause fouls, and from there, you win set pieces, which are veritable ways to score goals. That was why they were able to get that penalty.
Absolutely.
So, one thing that changed the dynamics of the game yesterday was the injury to William Saliba. That was it. Because William Saliba, though he has been an unsung hero, very calm, but one of the reasons why Arsenal won the league, small parts can be attributed to him. Really calm, coordinated, complementing Gabriel Magalhaes. So, it is what it is, and as it stands now, man, I see the Spanish team as the favorite. I see nobody stopping them, not even the Argentine, if they can beat the English team, the Three Lions today.
Oh, well, Luis de la Fuente's side are now primed to repeat the Euro World Cup doubles, Spain sealed at the 2010 FIFA World Cup, in South Africa. So they are going to take some stopping in New York. So in New York, New Jersey, and also it's quite a remarkable feat. And speaking of Luis de la Fuente, he said something in his words. He said, Michel, he said, and I quote, "We started almost 4 years ago with an idea, and we've been faithful to that idea, and it's brought us here. Today we faced one of the best national teams in the world, but in front of them, they had the best team in the world. we faced one of the best national teams in the world. But in front of them, they faced, in front of them, they had the best team in the world. That's Spain.
Yeah.
That's different. He says in his way, he said that's different. Being one of the best and being the best in the world is different. You went on to add that these players deserve everything. Day after day, they've shown their commitment, their solidarity, their generosity, their talent. They make the difficult situations look easy. In his words, saying they are the best team in the world. You quite agree with him?
Of course. 38 matches unbeaten, like I said, is no small feat. They do have an ideology. That is what has been working for them. That ideology is keep the ball, make sure you are always with the ball. Even when you lose the ball, less than 10 seconds, win it back. That is their philosophy. Less than 10 seconds. That is why you see that their pivot, talking about Rodri, was able to complement Paul Kubasi. Paul Kubasi, Laporte, and the rest of them. The way they play, they have that understanding going for them. Because even the defenders, Marc Cucurella, what a player. You saw that intervention having in this Spanish team. And that is how a football team flourishes.
I don't think Argentina has got something like that, something similar in terms of, that synergy, that clear understanding. They know what's at stake. They understand the job, the assignment. They are very much aware of what's expected of them and what's at stake. So for me, when you talk about some of the best teams in the world currently, the Spanish side really up there. But I also look at RB Celeste.
Yeah, the Argentines.
Because you look at what they've achieved in recent times. I mean, that's top. Copa America, the World Cup, they are the current holders of the World Cup. All right? They won it in Qatar too, and they still have a core of the group together.
Yeah.
All right? And then even at the World Cup, they've left it late for the most part, but I think they still have a lot going on for them positively. Left to me, I think going into the game against England tonight, I see them as the better of the two. The time for that encounter between Argentina and England is 8 p.m. Nigerian time. 8 p.m. Nigerian time. That's same time in the UK, all right? So, but I don't know. I see them as the better of the two. So, putting them side by side, because Luis de la Fuente saying the best team in the world. When you look at the rankings, they are up there. But number one in the world.
Well, the Argentine team, you cannot look down on them. Of course, underrate them on your own peril. They have the record holder when it comes to, the Ballon d'Or, Lionel Messi. And whenever he plays, he creates. And when he creates, the team thrives and they cause, harm to their opponents. Well, for the Three Lions of England, so far so good. They have, beaten my expectations. Because the last time they went to the semi-finals of a FIFA World Cup was in Russia in 2018.
Yeah, they got to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
The last edition in Qatar, they got to the
quarterfinals. Yeah. And, historically, themselves and the Argentine, the RB Celeste have met 14 times. They have won about 6 times. 5 have been drawn. And, of course, 7, the Argentine have won them 3 times. And if you take a look at the statistics, you understand that those statistics don't play football. Every game has its own, unique outcome.
No 2 games are the same.
Yeah, but here's an English side that seems to be going to their very first finals if they pass the test.
In 60 years.
In 60 years, since 1966. That was when, they went to the finals last. And if you take a look at how far they have been playing, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and a lot of them in that setup seems to know that this is a realistic opportunity for them to win it.
Yeah.
Of course, in their last 2 games, talking about the Argentines, they have needed extra time, which might be a factor. Fatigue might play in. For the English team, they have just gone to extra time once. So, and for the Argentine team, they have never met with the English team since 2005. 10th of November 2005 was when they met last. That was in Geneva, Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland.
Where the English team came from 2 goals down to defeat the RB Celeste. And then Lionel Messi have not even, made his international
He
debut.
was with the under-20s.
Yeah, it was with the under-20.
Yeah.
The one they won at our expense when Mikel Obi.
Under-20 FIFA World Cup.
So they have never met in an international competition. They have never met, in any kind of competition. This will be, the meeting, and a lot of high stakes seems to be involved. Well, to me, I feel the Argentine will be having it hard, difficult in terms of this game, because the English team would coming out smoking. They do have all it takes to face the Argentines. Though, like you mentioned, the Argentine, a large core of the squad that won the 2022 edition in Qatar are still with them. So they seem to have that cohesion, that team chemistry, and what have you. But the English team does have individual brilliance.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is there, Jude Bellingham is there, and a former coach of
Thomas Tuchel.
Thomas Tuchel
He's a serial winner when it comes to trophies and
absolutely.
all that, so.
He has become the very first non-foreign manager, to take the English team to the finals, which is really good. Sam Allardyce, a former manager of
the Big Sam.
The Big Sam, he has advised Thomas Tuchel and said, for you to win this Argentine team, it will be very difficult to stop Messi, but deploy Elliot Anderson.
Oh, Anderson, brilliant.
He has been
every day of the year.
It gets better,
Anderson.
like fine wine. It gets better with each passing day. So, I think tonight my spirit is telling me that the Three Lions of England might just be getting the better of the Alba Celeste, the Argentine national team.
Oh well, I would also consult my spirit to find out what it's saying. All right, so interesting times. Well, we can't go any further, Michelle. It's been quite right here on Sports 360 with you, looking at them stories making the rounds, and of course, dissecting what happened last night. Yeah, for the African United. Oh, sorry, the French national team. Oh well, they're out. So waiting, get them now. Top please.